Good evening. Mount Barker District Council meeting Tuesday, 8th of October, 7 o'clock. I welcome those present in the gallery and those joining us online for this council meeting. Please stand for an expression of faith. We are honoured to have been elected to serve our community. We pray for a community that is smart, culturally rich, prosperous, safe, connected and sustainable. We seek guidance to be an inclusive council, welcoming new ideas, engaging widely and deciding appropriately for our communities both now and for the future. An acknowledgement of land. The Mount Barker District Council acknowledges past and present traditional owners of South Australia and pay our respects to the leaders of the traditional custodians of this land. We are honoured to be on the ancestral lands of the Parliament and Kaurna people. We acknowledge the first Australians as the traditional custodians of this continent, whose cultures are amongst the oldest living cultures in human history. We pay respect to the elders of the community and extend our recognition to their descendants who are present. Thank you. We have an apology for the leave of absence for Councillor Bowe. We now have questions from the gallery for up to 15 minutes. In this 15 minutes, time is available for the community to ask questions relevant to council. It is not time to make a deputation, have an intense discussion or debate. Council members and staff also appreciate opportunities to respond to questions outside of council meetings, and this can allow for a considered response to questions that require investigation. Each member of the gallery has been provided with a flyer outlining the manner in which questions may be asked. Members of the gallery, are there any questions? Put that one out. 3, confirmation of minutes. I have someone move that the minutes of the meeting held on 2 September 24 as circulated to members be confirmed as a true and accurate record of proceedings. Councillor Lashley, Councillor Ward. All those in favour? Carried. Conflict of interest declarations. Council members are reminded of the requirement of disclosure by members of material or general conflicts of interest in relation to items listed for consideration on the agenda. Members, are there any conflicts? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to declare a general conflict of interest in relation to agenda item 12.4 due to owning a property on a road network corridor being considered. I intend to stay in the meeting to debate and vote on the matter, as the agenda item is an interest held in common with a substantial proportion of ratepayers and residents of the council area. I would like to declare a material conflict of interest of a direct pecuniary nature in relation to item 12.7 due to owning a property on a street being considered in the master plan. I will leave the meeting such that I cannot view or hear any discussion or voting at the meeting and stay out at any time while the matter is discussed and voted on, and thereby I will not be voting on this item. I would like to declare a material conflict of interest of a direct pecuniary nature in relation to agenda item 12.8 due to owning a property in close proximity to the city centre project site. I will leave the meeting such that I cannot view or hear any discussion or voting at the meeting and stay out at any time while the matter is discussed and voted on, and thereby I will not be voting on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with a conflict of interest over anything in this meeting? Then I'm going to declare a general conflict of interest for items 12.7 and 12.8 out of an abundance of caution for the fact that a member of my family owns property on Druids Avenue, and my general conflict of interest is to satisfy any requirement to be seen by the general public that there would be a perceived conflict of interest by me. I intend to stay in the room, vote if I do debate, and vote if I do vote. Now turn to item number 5. We have 2 dedications, and I'd first of all like to call on Mr. Colin Best of McCarty Creek Mr. Best, where are you? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you everyone for giving me the time to talk tonight. Don't know how many of you know me or in town, but I've been working with the residents groups and build up and gather together. On the engineering front, I have about 50 years of experience in civil infrastructure, building, design, consulting, you name it. So I've sent you all a copy of what I was going to talk about tonight. I don't know how many have read it, but that doesn't matter because it doesn't matter, of course. That's not critical because tonight what I want to present is a solution after the solution we thought with the link road would be up and going. That was canned by the department. So basically, this is my swan song for getting involved in doing all this program of work for residents due to what I consider bad governance and bad engineering. And I'm an engineer that's semi-retired, and I feel my duty to do this on behalf of engineering. This latest one is a half-inch chain, and I'll explain quickly as I go through. I'll be careful for 5 minutes. So, half-inch chain with lights out of harmwood, designed such that it has minimal impact on harmwood and should have no impact except for a slice of the corner there to get off Chunga Road to Adelaide with a slip lane, no control. Beyond the Chunga Road from anywhere, heavy traffic, light traffic, you end up in Adelaide. And vice versa, coming down the other side, and only turning right into the Chunga Road. Previously, I know that there's been a lot of uproar and conflict between the local residents. I think basically due to the way in which the interchange that was promised to Harmwood protected was handled. And I'll show you one which you have a copy of. It's typical of the very poor engineering that I consider that residents were faced with. And if you look at that, you wouldn't recognise that as the current freeway. It's something new coming through the space through your district. Probably it's quite intelligent, if you're looking at that. Not only that, they labelled the all the views in the wrong direction, you know. So I am reproducing something they intended to do, which is a half interchange. You see in the documents, I priced at less than $10 million, which typical process I've seen many times now. If they don't agree with it, they double it. So let's double the 20 million, which I think is a fair thing to protect Harmwood in the future. So I'll quickly read through. I've got here a recipe for the disaster for Harmwood and Mount Barker, because that's what I think is coming. And that's been experienced. They call it really bad disaster. I hope you don't sense a degree of pessimism. I'll read it straight out. I won't get through this in 5 minutes unless I do. Don't care if people say it's not a good talker. Hope I don't sense a degree of pessimism in my deputation tonight, because I'm feeling it will be my swan song in my attempt to help the area with their problems of infrastructure. The roads around in the area bound to the Harmwood and Mount Barker. This presents a cheap and effective solution to protect itself from the forever situation of being swamped by commuter traffic to and from Adelaide, and at the same time put all heavy vehicles back onto the B29 at Chunga Road onto the freeway without entering Harmwood. Previously, had a great road, huge drive like everyone loves driving along that road, safety, open, you name it. Only one problem, ended up in the middle of Harmwood. So what this does is deviates it just before. A road which is one of the safest of high-speed transport, the best location you see. Could someone hold up that plan that's got there? It just shows in graphic detail how the Chunga Road is perfectly placed to be the major north-south. You need a major north south. I used to be in advanced planning for the highways department, just to let you know the background a little bit. And that is excellent. That one.
No, that means your time has come to a conclusion, but I will, as a courtesy, in recognition of the large amount of work you've done, I'll leave another 30 seconds to make a final point, please.
Right, well, the last 30 seconds, there's nothing really to explain too much more, except what I'm speaking about tonight, I will give to council to hand out to anyone that's interested. I was going to have 20 odd copies, but my copy of spewed out paper just as I was doing it, so I'll present that to council and hopefully we'll have time to read it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any councillor to ask a question of Mr. Best before you raise off? For any questions, Mr. Best? Yes, councillor. Here, please stand.
Thank you for that presentation. The best, that was very good. Was there anything that you ran out of time to share with us that you feel pertinent that we do that?
Quite that question, I'll explain.
Lovely, you know, at the end of
So if you have a question, councillor Hill, please ask it.
I just wanted to know if there was anything pertinent that he didn't get to that was important for us to hear.
I can round it up in one sentence,
One sentence, please.
one long sentence.
Good. Nothing less.
Is that I don't know what council or what the residents can do with the situation. By the way, I have a high regard for your employees in the engineering area. I've dealt with them a lot. Anyway, continuing with the sentence, I do worry that there is no impetus coming from DIT, I don't know whether that means minister or not, to contribute to the solution. They are lumbered with only having 2 interchanges and not 3, that was originally planned one, whoever the planners. They've got 2 and they're trying to convince everyone they can get by with them. But the problem with that, it cuts off that access to the freeway. And you'll see I made a big point. I'd love to see what your fire people are going to be saying about access to the freeway if we get another Ash Wednesday and we end up with Yarrabee Road for Mount Margaret. Well, area will be running for the exits to get on the freeway. And there will be one Mount Margaret, that one is per done, and every man for himself. So
Thank
I hate
you.
to see that.
Thank you for that long sentence. Thank you. Sorry, I'll see another question, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Colin, and I've got one question, short answer. I'm assuming you've submitted this to DIT because they are the decision maker. We are not the decision maker. DIT is the decision maker. So have you submitted this to DIT? One word. And if so, what was their response?
No, not yet, but I know Anne has a meeting with Dick tomorrow. I've lost a lot of confidence in Dick. I was with Dick for 16 years from getting my degree right through. And I've lost a lot of confidence in the way that engineering has been stripped out of government departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, councillor.
Thank you, sorry, Mayor. Thank you for that presentation. Would it be possible to provide the contact details either on the document or through council? So I do suggest if you're handing these out to perhaps put your contact details on it in case anyone does have further questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly. However, council wants me to provide, if quite a few people are tested, know exactly how to get in touch, so I'm sure council will be able to provide that to you.
Just a suggestion, if you're
Oh,
using
thank
this
you.
as the document, put the contact details on there would be helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? All right, then, I've given advance warning, Rachel, I didn't forget you, we will have you speak after Dr. Heather Holmes-Ross, the Mayor of the City of Mitcham. If you care to come forward and please address the room. Dr. Heather Holmes-Ross, Mayor.
Hello, councillors. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I'm Heather Holmes-Ross. I'm the current Mayor of Mitcham, and you may know that I'm standing with President of the LGA, and I believe that you're making a decision about the way that you vote this evening. So there's information in the nomination form, and I've also sent out an email, an additional email to all members with the detail of my position. So I don't really want to repeat too much about this evening. The reason that I'm here is to introduce myself. To let you know who I am, what's important to me, and then by extension, you can decide whether I have attributes that you might like to see in an LGA president. So I'd like to start by talking about what my journey is becoming mayor. About 15 years ago, I was working as a research chemist at Trinity, and I met my second husband. And he was the executive chef at Qantas, but he wanted to have his own business. So I must have been young and in love, because in a sea change moment, we quit our jobs and we purchased a cafe in Blackwood. And we changed it into a cafe restaurant, and we were running it along sustainable ethical lines. We're showcasing local produce, creating food from scratch and using the circular economy before it was even a word or two words. And while I was doing this, I got to know a lot of my business owner neighbours, and I created a Shop Local campaign. And so we had 55 local businesses working together to showcase the Blackwood. And I went to my council and asked three things. I said, please, can you give me inflexible support on what we're doing? Please, can you give me someone to liaise with within council that can help us with road closures and running markets and things? And please, can you give me $500 to help with our marketing? And my council said, no, no, no. And I was like, I can't believe that, I'll run for mayor. And so I did. And my campaign had three platforms. And the first one was the environment, addressing climate change. The second was economy, stimulating local businesses and looking for alternative income streams for council. And the third was about being a guest accountable. So having a control position of how can we help you rather than, no, that's too risky. So I won the election. I cried into my pillow, what have I done? And then I started being mayor, and it's the best job ever. Thank you. So part of my campaign was this idea that Mitcham could become the first 100% solar powered city. And my council were interested in this because of environmental factors, but the economics stack up anyway, so it's one win-win. So Mitcham went to tender to find a collaboration partner to provide batteries and solar panels for residents and businesses at no upfront cost. And what we did was a heap of homework to de-risk the program for residents and council. So this program has been really popular with Mitcham, and we've had almost 1,000 homes sign up. That's out of 30,000 homes. And residents have saved almost $3 million on their bills, and are making money via our virtual power plant, which is helping them, you know, during the current cost of living crisis. So you cannot imagine how gratifying it was when I found other councils had started replicating the scheme. So Charlesford, the Camden County, Mitcham have all taken on this scheme very recently, and I'm happy to brief your council about what we did at another time. But the next part of this story is what happened on the back of the solar program, which was our most recent electricity tender from the City Ops. So that's street lights, civic buildings, libraries, community centres, pub rooms, those things. So we decided to go out with Murray Bridge to tender to see if we could get a better price for a small volume of power rather than the usual LGA aggregated model. And the outcome of that was Murray Bridge are saving around $350,000 a year per year for the next 10 years, and they're using 100% wind power. And Mitcham can spend some money, about $2 million, and we're going to cover all of our civic buildings with panels and adding batteries. We're set to save about $10 million over the next 10 years, and this is without CPI increases or power increases. So that the cost of power increases. So the idea was really successful, and we're really happy to share the experience with others. And I actually believe that your people are now able to talk to you about your power bills. So we've on board a degree of expertise to get to this position, because accelerating the uptake of renewables is important to our councils. However, I understand that other councils will have different priorities and different capacities. So I believe this is a classic example of where the LGA can play a role. The LGA is really well placed to take great ideas and help roll them out across the sector. For example, we can save money by centralising services. Why are we all presenting our own payroll? There are many other people doing awesome things across the sector, but we have to stop reinventing the wheel. I think I've contacted most of you by email in the last couple of months, asking for your feedback about the LGA. And what I've heard is that there's a huge opportunity for the LGA to bring people together. There are opportunities for training, there are opportunities to facilitate discussions between member councils, not only geographically, but among concerns. Really?
You have any? No, just in the end, but you have another 30 seconds. left to-
Okay, I'll be really quick.
One sentence.
No, 30 seconds. Some of the might be bushfires, behaviour standards, water, childcare centres, those kind of things. As President, I would love to see the LGA facilitating frank and fearless conversations across the sector to determine what's important to members so that we can help each other and help ourselves. There's more that I can stop.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Heather Armstrong.
That is a pleasure, Mayor Leach and councillors.
Don't rush off. There may be questions for you from either myself and my colleagues.
There may be.
There may be. If you have questions, bring that, yes. Go.
Thank you, Mayor Heather. Firstly, thank you for coming out and speaking with us. You're the only nominee who has. And I will just note my other colleagues, because we're voting on this later, that other nominees have had their PAs send us their letters and things like that. So to take the time out, it's well done. Just a quick question. Do you have any ideas of perhaps what you can do, I know as LGA president, not just helping councils as a whole, but what about like councillors? I feel like the LGA doesn't provide a lot of support for councillors, especially new councillors or councillors that are going through difficult challenges. You reach out to the LGA and it's more for the mayor or the staff.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas or thoughts on what you can implement and do for councillors and counselling?
Absolutely. I think that there's a huge important role that the LGA could take up that it hasn't right now. I think that there's an opportunity, for example, for group training, for all of us to get together, say at the beginning of each term, maybe we're at in town, at the, you know, computer or whatever, learning all together so that we're all very clear at the sector that we're part of. When we do this individually, we don't realise that we're part of something bigger. So I think that there's an important role there. I think there's an important role in terms of leading issues. I would like there to be someone that you could bring in and say, just quickly, what do I do in this situation? Also in government, but I also think that there's room for things like mentoring, you know, so, and leadership programs and things to help our elected members, because I think the LGA does an awesome job in training our staff, but perhaps not such a good job at training our elected members. Certainly they do some good things for mayors, but I think that that's a whole area where we could improve. So thank you for not even part of it, but it's no.
Thank you.
Are there any other members that would like to ask questions of the Ross? Then in that case, thank you for coming along.
Thank you very, very much for having me. I would love to stay, but I'm very out my weekend. But I'd love to come back another time. Thank you.
Right, well, thank you. Right from the Kelvin. Final number president. Let's talk to us from our three.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillor. I'd also like to acknowledge that I'm on paramilitary Ghana land, so I'm usually called a killer. And I say that, so I'm just giving you an update of the happening. And our Bukatilla studio, and Bukatilla by the way, means before. And so this is a new build at the back of Hardwicke Academy, and Hardwicke Academy was built over 70 years. So it just had renovations that grew from 1827. So this is one of the newest additions to the building other than the toilet block. Since, well, which was about 1920s. So it's very exciting. And the studio is actually really for the community, for them to host their meetings, or we find it's quite a lot of groups in Mount District Council that want to run their own art groups, but it's also for Hardwicke Academy to run workshops. And because we're quite inclusive with our programs, we want to include everybody, every age, from kids in prams, so we want access, right through to the older Australians who only need wheelchair access and any kind of access. So we're working with our District Council with talking, and I guess with the Bookatilla Studio, we're really thinking this is about strengthening community and supporting community and well-being. And we really, really can't wait to celebrate when it opens. So I'll invite everybody to celebrate with us. We've been waiting for this moment, and we built this building with grants, sponsorship, and Hardwicke Academy funds. So it's quite exciting. Basically, you probably already know that we're the second most visited gallery in South Australia, which is pretty amazing. This is the Art Gallery of South Australia. I'm really proud of this for our district and actually for South Australia, and to be recognised nationally as well. In 2023-2024, that year we had 165,000 visitors. And I'm really interested to see what our next financial year visitor numbers are, because we noticed an increase in numbers since we've activated the front room space, which was formerly the Tourist Information Centre. In that space, which we've had since June, we've been running some great sort of activations for the community visitors. At the moment, we've got draw your own self-portrait, which is really good fun. So please come and bring your kids. It's simple for every age group, but we've just really noticed how busy it is and how everybody loves it so much. And we say everybody can do art. So we're not sort of being exclusive, being totally inclusive. It's kind of exciting and it's really fun. Very busy at the moment with the school holidays. Just something else that's happened, but by the way, that front room, we call it the front room at the moment, has exceeded my expectations. So thank you to our Bath District Council for support with that. With the museum, we received a grant through TICSA, which is Tourist Information. It's for activating heritage and tourism. So we received a $15,000 grant, and we're putting $3,000 into it. This is to revitalise our museum, which hasn't happened for about 15 years. It's really exciting for us and for all our visitors. And with that, we're actually working with designers, curators. I've just looked at the time, actually, it's been really quick. We're going for a grant for a book as well with the History Trust. We've got the Hyacinth Prize coming up soon as well, and our opening is on the 23rd of November at 6 p.m. I encourage anybody to come. I hope you can. I will send you invitations. The winner will receive $15,000. I just wanted to let you know we've currently got exhibitions on with a hard-work artist, Sheila Whittam, also with Krista Rose upstairs, and we've got a disability art group as well. So disability is high on our list at the moment. Being inclusive and accessible, and at some point I'd like to talk about accessibility more in the future, especially for our upstairs space. I'd also like to invite the mayor and the councillors to come and visit for a behind the scenes tour. I'd love to show you all our studios, our coffee studios upstairs and what we have. So let me arrange a time for that special behind the scenes tour. And I am really dead on time.
Thank you. Thank you, right. Anybody has any questions? Councillor Harding.
Through you, Mayor, thank you so much for the passion and the energy which we are so lucky to have in our community. And I recall seeing to the bones of Bookatilla in the early days. And to know that you are so close to completion now is really just the result of the hard work of the whole team. So thank you. May I ask, what are the first few activities you think that Matilda will be taking?
Well, I'll be approaching local groups, actually. We've kind of got a bit of a waiting list of people that want to be involved. There's an artist in Mount Barker who wants to bring her art classes. So she has someone in a wheelchair and someone with a walker, so we have to wait for all that to be finalised. But, and we've got to be compliant for planning saying, which is due really soon. So, yeah, that's probably the first thing. But we want to also host workshops with London Academy and even parties, because we want to have a source of income as well.
Okay, so you can hide them out in the capacity.
And I will run them as well. So, and we will actually employ artists as well, so it's great for the economy as well in the region.
I was just probably a statement. There's those you can't really see, and I just love that there will be a working studio, you know, gallery in New Zealand, as you say, second the specific gallery. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions? For Roger? In that case, thank you for coming along. Thank you. Always nice to hear from you, Roger.
Thank you.
Councillors, I did receive 4 requests for a deputation. I did, on the 1st of October, I refused that deputation request to appear at this evening's meeting. The deputation request was from Lauren Hodge. The purpose of the deputation was to provide an update on the council-led initiative for disaster resilience and interactions with council's administration regarding property-related matters. The applicant has been encouraged to meet with the acting chief executive officer on the matters referred to in their request. Further, the applicant proposed to speak on behalf of other groups, which contributed to the reason for my refusal. And part of that was that the applicant did not have the written permission of the association that she claimed to speak for. Following meeting staff, the applicant may resubmit their request for a deputation at a later date. Pursuant to regulation 11.5 of local government procedures at meeting regulations 2013, council may resolve to allow a deputation to appear despite my ruling. There is no motion. I'll now move to item 6, questions with notice. There are no questions with notice. Item 7, questions without notice. Councillors, are there any questions without notice? Eight, motions on notice. There are no motions on notice. 9, motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? Councillor Harry.
My motion on that, I apologise for my fellow members and staff and bad notice of this relates to item 13.3 of the lane railway crossings. My motion is that the council commit to supporting at a minimum part funding the creation of a safe, approved pedestrian and cyclist crossing at Fiddler Lane as a matter of emergency, subject to approval by the Office of National Rail Safety Regulator and coordinated with the track upgrades planned to be undertaken by the Steam Ranger Heritage Rail. The background is that 13.3 is proposal to close the Fiddler Lane crossing. And on the I'm assuming my fellow councillors have read that 13.3, therefore know that there is a requirement to close it because of the intended opening of the Highside Boulevard. I believe that my motion addresses the fact that I believe the community will be very unhappy to find that railway crossing closed, and I'm seeking to put in place a proactive response to that. dissatisfaction. It is beyond our control at the moment, understand it, but I'm trying to get something ahead of the game to have council in a position where they have agreed to undertake action to reopen that crossing, if that is indeed possible. So I'll leave
Thank
it.
you, councillor Seeger. I will take advice as to whether this is a matter that is urgent or a matter that should be dealt with by way of a motion without notice. If you could just give me one moment to seek that advice.
Sure.
Councillor Seeger, I've received advice that this is a matter that is coming before the council in a motion in a while. My advice is that what would be a more appropriate item or way of tackling this item would be to request a report from council as to what the benefits and disadvantages of doing what you are proposing. It is a matter that will be dealt with in 13.3. I am inclined to not allow the motion as it stands.
Do I have a right to reply?
Say again?
Do I now have a right to reply to your comments?
Yes, please do.
The reason I put forward that I believe it is a matter of urgency because we are going to discuss it at 13.3, and by discussing and making a decision, then the potential is that we will in fact. And that will there needs to be opinion counted by many who use it because the alternatives are, I don't know how very long detour to cross the boulevard. And so on that basis, I believe it is urgent and should be done now. I don't think we need a report. We've already had public consultation in regard to both the Fiddler Lane and that public consultation to quite a bit of feedback that people value the Fiddler Lane crossing remaining open. So I do not believe we need a further report. What we need is to undertake some action to assure the community that we are aware of their concerns and are doing our utmost to ensure that it remains open or to reopen as soon as possible.
Sure. Whilst not customary for you and I to debate this backwards and forwards, we are at the Fiddler Lane saying that we will be requesting council to, I'm not sure the exact words, but it's effectively to reinforce the idea that we will have that pedestrian and cycling crossing capacity there. How it's paid for is possibly not to be a question to be put now. Maybe you could make that as part of the 13.3 by amendment. I'll leave it to 13.3.
I'll accept that. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Seeger. I might just, and this is certainly no criticism, councillor Seeger. We do encourage you have motions without notice to send them in ahead of time, so we don't have this point of discussion as we go through. Even though you can do them without notice, there is that encouragement that all councillors are asked to observe. Thank you. We get to item 10, petition. No petitions have been received. Item 11, recommendation from committees. We have 11.1, Audit and Risk Committee, minutes of the Section 41 Committee of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting. Can I have someone move that council receive and note those minutes, please? Councillor Westwood, seconded. Councillor Jones. Councillor Westwood.
No, thank you.
Councillor Jones. Any other amendment? Councillor Westwood.
Thank you.
All those in favour? Could I put a show of hands, please? Carry. Thank you. For reports, we have report title endorsement of the Community Plan 2044. Can I have a councillor move that we receive and note the feedback and the other items in 2, 3 and 4, please? Councillor Celeste, seconded. Councillor. And I believe the new number 5, whether the motivator. Look, I will, stand up for that. Because, we did have some feedback from the councillor about the requirement for some grammatical and, some other minor edits that we're including in item 5, that we allow those edits through the, process of the, actually, the second of that, item 5. Is it on the screen? Authorise the. Right, I said. Right, so is there a second? Councillor Jones. Councillor Celeste.
The proposed community plan is the overarching strategic plan for our council that sets out the vision and expectations that we as a community hold for our district over the next 2 decades. I appreciate all feedback and detailed submissions from community members. I read each one with interest, and I'm pleased to see that valuable feedback has been taken on board to shape and amend the community plan so that it will reflect the vision for our district. I would like to credit staff and express my appreciation for their engagement with the community plan received. I know that if endorsed tonight, staff will also be reinforcing that essential customer service loop and following up with all the required submission. From this collaborative community plan, council can go forward and deliver objectives for our residents through resulting lead strategies and action plans. I love that one of the main amendments following community consultation was the inclusion of the annual reporting template so that our community can track progress and achievements on the objectives moving forward. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar to Councillor Dale, firstly, I would like to thank the many residents of our community who actively contributed to the plan. Your feedback, suggestions, criticisms and compliments have helped shape this document and ensure it is relevant to the people that we represent. Secondly, I applaud the many members of staff who ran drop-in sessions, provided information through social media, online forums, and met with various community groups around the district. Your commitment to capturing the views of the community and incorporating it into this document is greatly appreciated. The feedback received highlighted some common themes that are considered to be important, in particular the environment, managing urban growth, transport, infrastructure, transparency, and ensuring a safe and resilient community. I read each and every submission and found the suggestions and comments to be extremely helpful. I love to see our residents engaging with us as it allows us to represent them efficiently and effectively. Whilst we cannot please everyone, and some requests go beyond our powers and abilities, rest assured that all feedback has been received, given consideration and appreciated. I'm happy to endorse the Community Plan 2044, and I look forward to living in the most beautiful region in South Australia.
Around the community plan, I just want to reiterate some points that Catherine made earlier. The market community survey had 1,500 respondents. The clear priorities of the ratepayers and residents were 1, local roads to maintain and fix the potholes, 2, traffic management, inadequate road infrastructure to keep pace with Mount Barker developments and population growth, traffic congestion and more car parking. The third one was responsible growth and development, to stop overdevelopment. Obviously that's not under control. Strict guidelines for new development, stop urban sprawl, housing developments, overcline farming. The fourth one was footpaths, to repair and maintain the peaks of footpaths, force developers to put footpaths on both sides of the road, build new footpaths in the many towns where they are lacking,
The fifth one was hospital mental health facilities. Yes, that is a state issue. Six was look after the nature land we have left, keep the streets and waterways clean. And the seventh one was rubbish management. This data is straight out of the community survey. These issues should be reflected in the community plan. Addressing these issues and not have this more difficult. Ignoring them means that the problems get worse, so I won't be supporting.
Have a member. So back to Councillor Celeste, closing comments, Richard?
Thank you. I really just mention that with the market community survey, I haven't put up. I follow that, I read the feedback. Now, I was actually really pleased because I did see the market feedback, the community feedback incorporated. I saw that the budgets were changed. I saw that there were meetings had by the executives and by their staff to incorporate that feedback. And from that, we had rapid response, I'm trying to think. We had rapid response for roads, we had biodiversity teams, we had so that feedback was incorporated. Further to that with the community plan, I guess I'm not expecting to see detail down to the nitty-gritty because we do actually have strategies for that. The community plan is the visionary document. Coming from that, as we can see in one of our attachments here, we have got multiple strategies in the next bracket. We can go to that in the actual place. So to me, the community plan is visionary, is what we want to see in the next 20 years. Then we have like strategies for the next 4 years, I believe. Then we have the action plan. So I think we have covered feedback quite well, and I'm happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? Carry. Sure. By virtue of the provision being called, I now set aside the previous vote that was just put up. All those in favour of the motion, please stand. Names have been recorded by the minute secretary on the wall behind me. And I name Councillor Celeste, Councillor Rosser, Councillor Seeger, Councillor Hardingham, Councillor Hall, Councillor Westwood, Councillor Jones, and Councillor Harding. I reckon it's three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. And put the two at the top of the way. And I name Councillor Hewitt. Carry. Move to item 12.2. Local government financing authority borrowing facility. Can we have somebody please move that we approve pre-approval of the $16.4 million loan? Councillor Westwood, seconded by Councillor Jones. Councillor Westwood.
Thank you, Mayor. 16.4 million is small, is that right? It is also absolutely necessary to get us to where we need to be in 10 years' time.
Councillor Jones. Any other member? Councillor Westwood.
Nothing further.
All those in favour? Carry. 4.3, report on the proposed closure of part of Princes Highway adjoining Little Hampton Brickworks. Do I have a person to move in that direction? Councillor Celeste, Councillor Hall, Councillor Celeste.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just seek at this initial stage to undertake community consultation on the proposed partial road closure. I do just want to briefly express my excitement that we are embarking on stage 2 of this project. The closure of this small section of road reserve will move us that much closer to construction of the desperately shared path extension to an Evo Park. It's estimated that there are over 100,000 visitors to this much-loved sports park annually. And presently I see that the only safe access to the park is by car. A future shared access path will also open up pedestrian access to the Totnes Business Precinct. The station trail project will provide necessary pedestrian and bicycle link. And I note on the plans proposed future pedestrian crossing, which is really quite critical at this intersection. So I'm hopeful for future budgetary approval for the completion of this valuable community project. I do have a question for you, please, ma'am. Just regarding the landscaping, it looks from the design plan like existing trees that sit right along the boundary that the council and road reserve are being retained. My colleagues just confirmed that consideration given to incorporating any existing local vegetation.
I didn't hear that last.
Just confirming that any notable vegetation such as trees will retained on the shared path.
My understanding is that the ability of the engineering people sitting behind you, that they will take great care about every tree and shrub along that path.
Thank you.
My understanding. Thank you. Councillor.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to agree with a lot of Councillor Stacey's comments and add my thanks to Councillor Westwood, who originally brought this motion to Council. I think this is a great move for the community and the business. Therefore, happy with the outcome that's being discussed tonight. It is a crucial link between our townships, Barker and Little Hampton, and they're going to be well received by the community. So, thank you very much.
Any other? Thank you, Councillor Ross.
Simple comment, just that the extra transport section over the Trails transport plan realising that there is some disconnectivity between trails and linear parks, etc. This is one of the glaring missing links. It has been for some time. We've done a good improvement up to that point. So it could be necessary that we do whatever it takes to get this last little section built to protect the
Thank you. Any other members to speak? Councillor Westwood.
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly to echo Councillor Stacey's comments in regard to this. It's been a very, very long time coming. And I certainly have the community feedback is very, very positive. And we can get this stage 2 off the ground as quickly as we possibly can. Thank you.
Member. And I'll probably say a word. Two, the 15th I'd like to say, and one of the questions, Mr. Dawkins, if I may say, well, that new proposal to include a bridge across that little creek on that side of the Princess Highway. Yes. Sorry? Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
So complete
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for answering that question. And the second thing is that that brickworks has been there for a lot longer than anybody in the room has been alive, by a factor of 2 or 3 times. And the owner of those brickworks have always been great corporate citizens. I'd just like to record that. Thank you. Any other comments before we vote? Then in that case, all those in favour? Carry. 12.4, integrated transport plan, community feedback, amended documentation and consolidated action plan. With 9 attachments that we've already had the opportunity to have a look at. You'll have councillor read that way, please. Councillor Celeste. Councillor Westwood, Councillor Celeste.
I'm not sure where to start. Non-documented work has been amended the integrated transport plan with many detailed corporate submissions. I think I read 160 later. And that was on the 6 draft actions and underlying strategy. The plans themselves are comprehensive, broad ranging across the district, and I could capture the many competing projects and priorities that we're experiencing, not just now, but we'll certainly experience in years to come as we face the challenges associated with our ever burgeoning growth district. Identifying the action plans were challenges and gaps in varying infrastructure and networks for roads, footpaths, trails, public transport, and pedestrian and cycle safety. I appreciate that the consolidated and prioritised action plan will be reviewed annually, and I acknowledge that one of the many challenges for council lies in addressing residents' valid concerns and expectations with regard to results and timeframes. Where budget and grant funding opportunities allow, Council is progressing action and making necessary improvements when and where possible. A common frustration heard can be when it's an advocacy issue and tangible results are forthcoming. We all want the best outcomes for our residents and for our district, and we are working towards these goals. I appreciate the frustration felt, and I too look forward to a time when the state's Adelaide Hills and Mount Barker transport strategy, which I think is going to be 2 years coming, can be released so that we can see the priorities and plans ahead for our district. I think from a council perspective, these 16 action plans and the consolidated plan set a firm foundation to guide council in its objectives for the foreseeable future.
Councillor Westwood.
Thank you, Dan. An extraordinary amount of work to create these plans. And I have only one slight disappointment with them. And that is that North Road there, it's shoved into the medium term yet again. So we're about 15 years down the track now, so further 5 years shouldn't go back that much. Thank you.
Any other member? Councillor Bryant.
Yeah, look, a lot of work by staff in this, and a lot of time put in by committed public residents as well, with a lot of very detailed thought through submissions. It's noted that minor claims have been made. I hope a little bit more than minor. It's difficult as always without claims to know what's being changed. It's too hard to read and compare with the original document. Yeah, actual transport, one area key to me, the great interest to me, I think a lot of good priorities. I think some can be brought slightly forward. I know that part of the short-term 3-year plan is to liaise with Tourism SA, cycle tourism, and I think we could do that just to promote. I think we could do that more immediately, fairly immediately with our website. There's a dearth of information on there to guide those who want to explore our trails and secondary roads for cycle tourism and walking. And I think that would be low cost and could have quite a positive economic benefit, as well as sort of obviously health as well, social connection, etc. I think that's something we can look at doing this in 3 years. A lot of advocacy. I realise that that's best we can do in areas that are that state government control. I think we need to, particularly with public transport, the small towns, we've got to push really hard on that, because our service delivery model tends to be fairly centralised in Mount Barker. So either state government's got to get people into Mount Barker in public transport, or we've got to take services like the library out to towns with increased outreach programs. A couple of areas on a quick read I couldn't see get picked up. There is an issue with commercial parking, trucks, etc., in some residential streets. I've had that. I can't remember reading any submissions, but I get a lot of contact from residents saying that trucks are parking in a dangerous situation in front of their houses, and have been, longer term. I think some councils have policies on that. I think we need to have a look at that. And also, I think we need to be looking at increasing the number of 40 kilometre zones, not what's in the town centre, but some of our dangerous rural roads. Conflict of interest, when I talk about Springs Road crossing Mount Barker Creek, so I use that crossing a lot. But I won't be the one that gets killed there, because I know the crossing too well and I take great care. But the cyclists or pedestrians, and those cyclists and pedestrians use it heavily, especially cyclists in Mount Barker Summit. A lot of cars go way too fast through there. It's blind bends, cars lose control, and smash through fences, 1 a year or so continually. I think it's a matter of time till it's potential disaster there. And I think a clear sign of 40 would perhaps alert people that it's not just a regular 50, maybe there's something a bit more of a concern here. So it's a couple of things I would like to see in there, but we'll keep moving with this. Thank you, Lee. Oh, and also, I'll just comment that there's a lot of good content on active transport. I'll be interested to see whether we can resource this with our internal resources. So I'll help a while that we perhaps need a trails plan, as some councils do, don't even grow as fast as ours. And we'll see how it plays out. I think we need to look at possibly to achieve this plan, we might need an increase in resource in there, and we can then do wonderful things like having a trails festival, which I think would be huge for any support. If we did that, it'd be great, our trails in our district. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other councillors to speak to this matter? Councillor Hewitt.
I also know a lot of work is going into this, active transport plan. According to the active transport action plan, active transport plans support reduced reliance on private motor vehicles and help us to move away from the reliance on private vehicle use. The advantages of this concept are argued to be health benefits, as well as reducing air pollution, climate emissions, and to reduce the cost of living. Is the phasing out or end of private vehicle ownership an idea supported by the majority of ratepayers? Private vehicle ownership is the bedrock of Australian life and businesses. Without trucks transporting food and supplies around Australia, the country grinds to a halt in a matter of days. How does a parent with a few children get their kids to school or sport, walking or cycling, if the route is more than a short distance? Whilst active transport, cycling and walking, e-scooters, e-bikes, boaters, etc. makes sense in a highly urban setting, such as large cities, especially in Europe and Asia, is this a sensible solution for our local problem? If you ask the Harndale community of residents and businesses to identify their traffic-related priorities, you are going to repeatedly hear road and footpath maintenance, lack of car parking, and traffic congestion in their main street. These are priorities to ratepayers, and they are not improving, they're getting worse. Very few residents and businesses would agree with the key issues listed on page 2 of the Active Transport Action Plan document. The development of a new active transport infrastructure, such as a purpose-built cycle and pedestrian tracks across our council area, is far down the list of priorities, when towns like Harndale and most of the other small towns in our district are lacking basic footpaths. At a time when residents in Mount Barker District Council are tightening their belts and increasingly struggling to afford the basics, asking them to choose between aspirational active transport priorities could be seen as council being out of touch with their community. There are very good reasons why, according to the data on page 5 of the Active Transport Action Plan, the majority of people in Mount Barker District Council, especially those not on public transport routes, rely on private vehicles. What would the people of Mount Barker District Council say if they knew that their elected representatives at all levels of government are planning and legislating necessary actions to minimise private vehicle ownership by 2030? I will also play information.
Councillor Seago.
I have to commend the enormous amount of work that's gone into this document, and overall, I think it's an excellent document. I'm very happy to support it. There are a couple of very minor things that I'd like to comment on. I have to agree entirely with Councillor Westwood in relation to the North Road. That can not be very negative and get a long way down the road. So, the first one is RN 6.4 on page 280, which talks about ensuring projects consider opportunities for revegetation as much as preservation of existing unit vegetation. But that does not sit comfortably with me. It's suggesting that existing vegetation, or rather revegetation, has some true equivalence to existing revegetation. It's clearly not true at the moment. If I knock down a tree legally, of course, I'm required to replace it at a rate of, I think, 6 to 1, and 6 to 1 for taking down my large remnant tree with hollows and providing a plethora of opportunities for biodiversity to continue, and not replace it with zip tubes like this high. Now, not equivalent. I don't believe we should consider the opportunities for revegetation should be considered as much as preservation of existing. I would like to see that reworded in a manner that reflects the true value of biodiversity, rather than suggesting it is okay to knock it down. I understand totally that the times when things cannot be avoided and they're unsafe, etc., etc. I understand it, but I think we should not actually get that as a default position. The other thing I want to talk about is what Councillor Hill just talked about in relation to reduced production of product. Vehicle use. I can find lots of comments in relation to submissions. I can find very little comments in relation to that in terms of the document itself. I believe there's essentially a misunderstanding. I don't think there's a conspiracy by state, federal and local government to reduce car use and have us all walking down the road, I don't know, with our hat and home, channeling 1960s China. I don't think actually that anyone has that idea. I think what it is about encouraging people to use perhaps more appropriate means of transport, whether it be walking or cycling, where it is appropriate, to not use a car to go that extra 50 feet down the road. You should not have to drive and park in front of the shop and get out and back in your car and drive the other end of the same street. I mean, there are other ways of going, and I think we should be encouraging that. I don't think we're saying private cars shouldn't exist and all trucks should be burned or something. I just think that's a complete misrepresentation of this plan. I'm very happy.
Any other members to speak to this item? Then I will put it to the vote. After Councillor Stalati, I will put it to the vote.
I'd like to point out after the vote that there are six themes, six action plans about the consultation of. They were road network management, which covers the roads, potholes, etc., networks, how we can get places, active transport, road safety, parking, public transport, and technology and innovation. So I do think, as Councillor Harris said, context is really important. In the context of active transport, I don't think anyone is saying that in the future there won't be more cars as such. It's a matter of, if there are options to put parts and put trails in, that by all means walk, cycle, etc. So I think context is really important in the context of active transport. That's it.
All those in favour? Gary, all those against?
I like the board division.
The division has been called. Vote on item 12.4 is now set aside. I request all councillors that are voting in the affirmative for this motion to please stand and have your name recorded. Remain standing until the minute secretary has recorded your names, and I name Councillor Stalati, Councillor Rosso, Councillor Seeger, Councillor Hardingham, Councillor Orr, Councillor Westwood, Councillor Jones, Councillor Harding. Thank you. Said it. All those against the motion, stand. Name Councillor Hewitt. Please be seated. The motion is carried. And while I'm standing up, I'm going to particularly thank the staff for this integrated transport plan. As Councillor Seeger said, this is a massive document. If people have any idea the amount of work, the amount of energy, thought, there's a lot that goes into a plan like this. Paul Simon, sitting over there, you and your colleagues have done a tremendous amount of work. I'm loath to name you individually, but you can take that on behalf of the team and let everybody know on the floor here that your work with your colleagues is greatly appreciated. also important to note the community plan. Maddie Walker was the lead in that project, and once again, as we all know, that was a body of work that is not a product of just Maddie, but a whole team of people, and that too is a tremendous amount of work. We have had tonight 2 reports that are just absolutely top class and be presented to council, and I really commend all the staff, but particularly those 2 who have done the work tonight. Thank you, everybody. Move to item 4.5, the naming of the ephemeral wetland. Can I have somebody move the council name this lagoon waders, please? Councillor Harding, seconded by Councillor Jones. Councillor Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. The Larratinga Wetlands Network has become a much loved community asset for both its environmental and recreation value. So I feel it has been fitting for the community to play a role in the naming process of this new wetlands area. I support the rationale behind the recommended name of Waders Lagoon, as it provides both a distinction to the other wetlands areas and also an explanation of the lower line attracted to this particular region. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I was also pleased that the community were involved in the naming. Personally, I love some of the names, Kermit's Cove and Barker Bobby Lands myself, but anyway, it's a good choice. But noting, because there were a lot of Paramount names suggested, and noting that the local Paramount representatives were consulted as part of the process and have not agreed on an assignment of a Paramount name and confirmed the site itself does not have Paramount significance in its own right, and as a result of this, the Paramount First Nations name has not been shortlisted, because I'm sure there are members in the community who believe we've overlooked that, but just confirming that there's certainly a Paramount representatives and elders were consulted during this entire process. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Anybody else would speak to this naming of the lagoon? Councillor Rosso.
Thank you, Mayor. It's only a name, and I'll concede that it does reflect the primary reason it was built with native fauna as Larratinga got limited. But I find it fairly boring. I like Cobblepond Pond. And that also actually reflects the importance, because it's a frog habitat as well. And apparently a bit difficult to say, maybe obscure to those who don't know what noises frogs make. I think it's just a bit more fun than Waders Lagoon, but not Waders Lagoon, I'm afraid. Boring.
All right, thank you. Would anybody else want to speak to the naming of this ephemeral wetland? In that case, all those in favour? Oh, sorry, councillor Harding. Come back. Didn't think you would. All those in favour? Carried. Item 12.6. Property lead strategy and action engagement plan. Councillor moved that council endorse engagement plan. Councillor Harding, seconded by Councillor Orr. Councillor Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. With our district's rapid growth and increasing pressure on social infrastructure, I support the development of this policy. I feel that the engagement process will provide an opportunity for important conversations with the community in order to provide clarity, certainty, and consistency.
That's all.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to note that this is to endorse our engagement plan on how we will approach the community, and I think it's quite thorough, so thank you very much.
Any other member? Councillor Gladstone.
Question for you,
Sure.
regarding the new stakeholder engagement plan. I noted it's primarily mentioned in the agenda report engagement plan. There will be a workshop with interested stakeholders on the 22nd of October. The plan also does make reference to this event as a community drop-in session. I then recall from our briefing session information to councillors, the event was referenced as a community forum. So I'm genuinely delighted with the level of engagement that will be undertaken. I was just hoping that these three engagement opportunities mentioned can be quite different in nature, but I might ask for clarity on the open session framework and how we run, please.
Thank you. Before we're going down, Ms. Morgan, if you can stand and please supply out here.
Good, Chair. So this kind of engagement plan is the done of the property strategy. When we saw you in September, that was workshop to introduce you to the strategy and the listener licensing policy. And so through that document, we spoke about the community forums and workshops. So the strategy we're doing a very targeted approach to actually meet our KPI for the time for the strategy. So we're doing an involved workshop with key stakeholders, and then there will be community forum drop-in sessions and policy engagement as a second approach. And that engagement will actually have a different number of orders. So this is purely for the strategy.
Yes.
So the policy, yes.
So all things have been without.
The 27th of October is the described workshop for key stakeholders. Yes.
Councillor Sledger, you sending out an email clarifying that tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan, for your answer. Any other person to speak on this matter? Then councillor Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I will correct this policy. I should be using it.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. 4.7, Mount Barker Centre Master Plan, Project Plan and Engagement Strategy.
Thank you. I have the rumours.
Cool. Okay, well now I speak, councillor to endorse the Mount Barker Central Program Barker Centre Master Plan Project Plan and Community Engagement Strategy. Cool, that was good. Councillor Westwood, Councillor Jones. Councillor Westwood.
No, thank
Councillor Jones.
Thank you through you, Mayor. I'm very pleased to endorse the Centre Master Plan and especially the engagement strategy. The motion I put forward in May in regards to the Dun and Bickle land was to ensure that the community could offer their thoughts and aspirations to inform the decision and design process. Not to only provide feedback on ideas that we have come up with. This is the start of the process and I encourage the community to get on board and engage with us. And let's start a constructive, forward-thinking conversation so we can work together to create a town centre that is functional, adaptable, and a place we can all enjoy for many years to come. Thank you.
The other member. Councillor Westwood.
Thank you. So, Councillor Jones is indeed correct. It's a very, very comprehensive strategy plan. Sorry, engagement plan, which, although it's dialogue for 12 months, may not even be ready. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. One more. Item 12.8, city centre project update. Your councillor, yes, thank you. 12.8, wait a second until the line. Well, councillor, move that way. Councillor Hall, second line, councillor Jones, councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's once again quite an exciting stage of this project. I think that the revised concept plan addresses a lot of the concerns that the community had about the town square, and this addresses that, expands that town square form. And while it is a shame to see CLA leaving that side, I think that the increased car parking changes will really address the community consultation that we received. And I do think that this is a great result for the community, and I'm quite keen to see this progress further on. Thank you.
Councillor Jones. Any other member? Councillor? No further. All those in favour? Carry. On 12.9, voting for President of the Local Government Association of South Australia 2024-26. Do I have a councillor move that council use a secret ballot process for this? Councillor Westwood, seconded by councillor Jones, councillor Westwood. Councillor Jones. Any other member? Councillor Westwood. All those in favour? Carried. We're now going to conduct the vote. Which colour are we using? Turning off them? Green. Green. We're going to be using green. I now have to read out to you the names of the candidates. And they are. I haven't borrowed my neighbour. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 candidates, and they are Lord Mayor Jane Lomax Smith from the City of Adelaide, Mayor Michael Coxon from the City of West Torrens, Mayor Chris Hannon from the City of Marion, Mayor Heather Holmes-Ross, City of Mitcham, Mayor Claire Bone, City of Port Adelaide Enfield. After you have voted, fold up and it will come around to you. No. And the secret ballot just conducted, Heather Holmes Ross was district candidate. And we can be sent off to the LGA. We'll have somebody move that vote be councillor Jones and seconded by councillor Gillespie. All those in favour? Do you have anything to say about it, councillor?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Gillespie? And anybody else in the room? And councillor Jones, would you like to close? All those in favour? Carry. Now for the election for two positions on the local government finance authority. And I was going to move that we use the secret ballot process. Councillor Jones, Councillor Slacky, Councillor Jones, Councillor Slacky, and the other member, Councillor Jones. All those in favour, carry. Now, here's this ballot paper. And the instructions I've just been told are to use two ballot papers and put one name on each. And the names of the people. The current board members, it's 7 of them. Which are we voting for? Where they are nominated down here. There are 5 nominations for the 2 positions, so you must vote for 2 people. And the 5 nominations are Mr. Michael Phillips Ryder, who's a councillor of the Light Regional Council, Mr. Jonathan Pitch, who's a councillor of the Coorong District Council, Grant Piggott, councillor City of North Canaan and St. Peters, Michael Sedgman, CEO City of Adelaide, John Smedley, councillor City of Whole Bay. 2 votes, please. So as a result of the vote, first person elected was Sedgwick and the second one elected was Piggott. I now move that these two positions that I'm authorised to complete the LPFA program to reflect this decision. Councillor Seeger and Councillor Westwood. Councillor Seeger. Councillor Westwood. Any other members? Councillor Seeger. All those in favour? Carried. 12.11, Audit and Risk Committee Annual Report. Can I have somebody move the council adopt the Audit and Risk Committee's annual report? Councillor Jones. Councillor Selessi. Councillor Jones. Councillor Selessi. Any other member? Councillor Jones.
Mayor, just in conclusion to thank the Audit and Risk Committee for their efforts for the year, especially Michelle Bennett, the chairperson. It's been good to have a good collaboration and have them involved in the briefings and workshops, so we appreciate those.
All those in favour? Carried. 12.12, annual review on confidential items released and reviewed items. So somebody move that the list released that was the previous attachment, and sorry, the previous annual review attachment 1, and to retain the confidential items in attachment 2. Somebody will move that way, it's Councillor Hewitt. Seconded by Councillor Seeger. Councillor Hewitt. Councillor Seeger. Any other member? Councillor Hewitt. All those in favour? Carried. 12.13, wastewater updated environmental improvement program. We'll have somebody to move 12.13, please. Councillor Harding, seconded by Councillor Seeger. Councillor Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I always appreciate receiving updates on the environment improvement programs, as I know that behind every action item is a great deal of work, expertise, and financial utilizing. It is a significant to-do list. I note there is an additional compliance action number 10, and would like to ask through you, if I may, if this was an action that was initiated internally by council or externally.
Well, that's a question that the head of wastewater would be very happy to enlighten and
Yes, Councillor Harding, it's initiated by us. There's an expectation of the EPA that we add compliance actions each year. Particularly given this year, we've completed 4 out of the now 10 actions.
Councillor Seeger.
I'm just saying, trying to see none of this actually being completed. We're in a difficult position with our transition. There's a new wastewater system and a transition to that, and large amount of money and the amount of time it's taking through no one's fault, just how something like what goes. And so it's great to see we're still on track and doing quite well in this regard. And we have had, well, we have had breaches, minor breaches. We are overall in a very good position. So,
Any other? If you mind.
I just like to give credit to the wastewater team for the work they've done in operations, because a lot of it, it's probably, we had comments early in the evening in the submissions, the community plan about what are we doing during wastewater, and we don't see like how to be doing, etc. So I don't think the general community understands our role and how difficult it is, given the very rapid rate of our community and therefore the need for wastewater services, how difficult it is to remain compliant in this sector and in this way. And the development of our recycled water and future development, that is actually important for our community in terms of sustainability. And it's great to see and very recognised by the community how what good work we do in our community.
Any other members? Councillor Harding.
No, nothing further adds between these. Thank you.
All those in favour? Carried. 1214, application for safer roads and infrastructure program, Spring Roads East. Well, councillor move that way. Councillor Seeger and Councillor Westwood as second. Councillor Seeger.
Just say I wish to success.
Westwood.
Well,
Any other sentiments in the room? Then Councillor Seeger to close. All those in favour? Carried. 1215, wastewater subsidiary charter, referral to Minister for Gazettal and commencement of board recruitment process. Do I have somebody move this one? Councillor Seeger, seconded by Councillor Westwood. Councillor Seeger.
thank you. Your Worship, I have to say that it's very satisfying for me personally to see this, even though when this was first raised, quite some years ago, I was quite opposed to it, really. So, my commendation for all involved in showing me the error of my way, convincing me this is the way to go, and I believe it is the way to go. This charter will allow us to create a subsidiary and a subsidy, I don't need to be a subsidy. And that will allow us, or rather the subsidiary, to focus on that work and that work alone, with specialists in the best possible way. So I look forward to this going and coming back and us appointing staff and subsidiary commencing in January, hopefully. Thank you.
Councillor Westwood. Any other member? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I need to reiterate what Councillor Seeger said, really, I think it's a necessary step to introduce a level of professionalism and take it away from, to an extent, protect the needs and other staff, because it's a complex area of requiring a lot of expertise, and I think it's a good step and good growth.
Thank you. Any other member? Councillor Seeger. All in favour? Carried. 415, the delegation of authority toward electricity supply contract. Will have somebody move that way? Councillor Westwood. Seconded by Councillor Jones, Councillor Westwood.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the council.
Councillor Jones. Any other member? Councillor Westwood.
Nothing.
All those in favour? Carried. Award donations. We have somebody move that there are 2 award donations, $500 in total. Is there any more than 2? Like councillor. Excellent. Could somebody move that way, please? Councillor Jones. Seconded by Councillor Westwood. Councillor Jones. Councillor Westwood. Any other member? Councillor Jones. All those in favour? Carried. Item 13, the following the following 3 reports will be noted on block. So I have somebody move that way, please. Councillor Orr, seconded by Councillor Jones, Councillor Orr. Councillor Jones. All those in favour? Sorry, anybody else speak on the matter? Sorry, anybody else wish to speak? No, with, Harry, councillor Seager, you to speak.
I'd like, leave over here to what we're doing, move to chip on block.
Sorry, I'm having trouble.
The take we're moving to chip on block
Will
is
you talk to anyone?
at this point.
Absolutely.
Shall I shout? You've got a vision. I'd like to address 13.2.
Corporate procedures, levels of support.
Yes.
Levels of support, right.
I have a concern over this. I find myself, we're not adopting a policy. It's a corporate procedure. So I don't know how that affects my capacity to write a letter of support. Does it prevent me from doing so, or I should merely inform the CEO and the mayor? It seems to me that if I was elected to council to support my community, and one of the ways that I will support my community was if they would ask for an application for grant funding, that I would, as their local council representative, write a letter of support suggesting that the proposed activity for which they want to grant was a wonderful idea, if I thought it was a wonderful idea, and encourage the body hanging grant out to give them the money. This would seem to say I can only do that if the CEO or the mayor approves. I find that quite restrictive really, because they might be looking for that grant 12 months out from the council or from any notice of coming to council. I don't understand why the conflict of interest provisions would apply only when it comes to council. Because I'm not speaking on behalf of council, and I'm not directing council anyway. I'm saying myself, as an elected member of a council, support my local community to act. So why should I not be able to do that? When that proposal were to be successful and the body come to council seeking further funds, which is normal course of events, at that point, there might be a conflict of interest, but of course, I'm not going to change having supported and be convinced by my fellow members that I now don't support. Unlikely, but nonetheless, I would declare that I'd spoken, and my opinion may entirely the same. So I'm going to stick to my guns and say, I do support. I don't know what way I shouldn't be able to write a letter of support. I cannot. We're not adopting a policy. We're just having our hands tied anyway. And I don't like that's
Sure.
and it seems to me this is another example of where the role of the councillor is being restricted, nibbled away at. We forever find ourselves in tighter and tighter restrictions that reduce what we do, and I'm not very happy about it. You can probably tell that.
So while you're in a minor state of unhappiness, a couple of things. Did you respond to the suggestion that you could reply to the?
Well, here's the irony. I didn't, and here's why. Early in tonight's session, we talked about engagement fatigue. I'm feeling a bit engagement fatigue, and I didn't. All right.
And the second one, my question is, did you read dot point 20 that if a council member or the mayor in their private capacity choose to provide a letter of support, they can, but they should give careful consideration to blah, blah, blah. As it appears there that you can actually.
I do understand that. But this is saying that somehow I have to seek advice or approval, and I I find it restrictive because it means I have to go to you, nothing personal, the role of mayor, the role of CEO, whoever's in that position. And at this point, I don't see what I've got to do with it because I'm not supporting my local community as they expect me to do in my role. I'm not buying it.
Then councillor Seeger, just as a matter of comfort to you, I'll still refer you to page 681, item 20, you can still do it and you don't have to consult with me, that you're giving a letter of support.
Splendid.
The driving work is exact, and
All right. I'll
you're,
take your direction
it's
at
a,
face value and if I'm talking all sorts of government trouble later.
no, you won't, I'm in solidarity with you, councillor Seeger. As always.
That's 13.2.
Yep, item number 20, page 681.
And now I'd like to speak to 13.12.
Go.
Right. As I was flagged early in the evening, I'll update my spot. So I can talk more coherently. Excuse me for a moment. This is a report. It is not a motion.
No.
So, and I was effectively refused the opportunity to have a motion earlier, and so I can't make an amendment. But once again, I would like to say how unhappy I am with this, because
Councillor Seeger, you can make an amendment.
well, I'm amending, and in that case, because I'm confused. I'm sorry, you need to explain to me how I can amend something that's been voted on. This is not a motion, there's nothing to amend.
Thank you for what you said. You please repeat what you said. Only got one in.
Remember that. I was accused the ability to have a motion without notice early in the evening. There is no other further motion. Therefore, I cannot amend the motion. This is not a motion, this is a report. There is nothing for me to amend.
And I repeat it on page 690 where it says this process may take a number of months and the construction of a safe pedestrian crossing is subject to further budget and resource allocation as is not included in the current agreement with the construction of the High Boulevard crossing. My understanding is that it'll be like another matter that has come before council in the past couple of days. We're going to move that we are going to have this new crossing night follows day, that we will build it. And it says here that it's subject to further budget and resource allocation.
The point of my attempted motion without notice was to move the motion to the effect that that would be the case. It's merely reports that will do it, and so when the community reads this, they will say the council's going to close the crossing, close the fence. There's nothing in council that council has done, if I lay the motion, it has not resolved to fund, not to say how much, but it has not resolved to fund this subject to the National Rail and the Steam Ranger track upgrade. The council will fund the re-establishment of the crossing, regardless of whether, as I know, accept your assertion that it is in fact not by a day that will occur, but there's nothing to give solace to community that it is a temporary thing, which was the point of my motion, why I believe it be urgent, and why now I cannot move a motion to do that. Hence, not happy. Because
then
that's where I can, that's part of it.
okay, good. So what I will say is that, I would encourage you to put a motion on notice for the next meeting for the funding by virtue of the fact that what you said to me earlier, I did not consider to be a matter of such urgency and importance that the failure to consider it at this meeting would likely result in a detriment to the council. We've got a report that's going to take a number of months, and we know how notoriously long ARTC anybody is. I would say that, please bring a motion to the next council meeting by the next motion.
I will do so, however, we disagree clearly over the matter of urgency and to what the detriment to the council will suffer, because they will see this and then they'll wait a month to find the conversation. I believe it could happen tonight, and so I will leave it at that point. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your consideration. Anybody else to speak on any of the matters under item 13? Councillor Slater.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to speak to items 13.1 and 13.2. Start with 13.1.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm sad to see the Fire Flourish program winding up in March next year, really because it has been such a gap in our community with ongoing support, education, workshops and events that embrace community and civic connectedness. The Fire Flourish team have been exemplary, and the feedback that I continue to receive from townships regarding the team and the hard work and support they provide is always absolutely glowing. I wish the funding for this program could continue, though I'm aware that it always has an end date. I'm pleased that an end of program review will take place to assist the council's community development team in continuing the momentum and tailored support to townships. I look forward to the development of the council's emergency management plan to further support our townships in a disaster preparedness and resilience space. I did break the little disappointment at point 18 in the agenda report that beyond March 2025, overall district seasonal fuel reduction works have been reduced, with bushfire prevention on public land needing to be prioritised and action by existing approved council resources and budgets. The funding from the fire prevention program has clearly been a great benefit in reducing fuel loads required with the work of the fire mitigation team. I hope that other funding opportunities can be explored to continue this important work. I do have a question, please, through his mayor.
Yes.
I note that there are new fire mitigation officers mentioned in the report, and I would like clarification on point 17, please. And just ask if these are ongoing roles separate to the fire protection program.
I believe so, but I'm wrong. So, my belief is the fact. Hence, well, if you want to not this meeting, actually, CEO, please.
Report 17 talks about the current fire and flourish funded staff. So they were 2 new staff that have been brought into the staff. So even though they're new members, they will also be with us in March next year.
Thank you.
While I'm standing, may I?
You keep going, you have the floor.
Right, well, thank you, Ben. With regard to letters of support procedure, I have been asking for guidance for elected members on letters of support since last year, early last year actually, when I had my first experience and realised that there was as yet no guidelines in place for elected members or staff on letters of support. I do know these letters have always been provided on good faith and with the best intentions by all concerned. However, I've been mindful of the collective awareness that necessary disclaimers are often needed on these letters from a property and legal perspective. If these letters support or relate to any council structural property is available needed, and additionally with regard to conflicts of interest regarding council internal grants and subsidies. So I've had concerns I've noted along the way. Other councils have similar policies and guidelines on letters of support, and I think this is a sound conceptual next step. It's best practice, clarifies everything for all concerned, and I'm very supportive of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13, motion reports, councillor Grosvenor.
Related to 13.3, I think what councillor Seeger is saying, and to an extent agrees, it's a really important, probably a really important issue. I do know that I think senior council staff are aware of the role of elected members and more importantly, the community to reinstate the pedestrian cycle crossing at this point. And I'm cognizant that it's fairly politically sensitive at the moment, the negotiations with other parties. So whether caution's needed or whether we do better with a firm sort of statement of a position, I do acknowledge that would placate the community to some extent. So that they would understand that we are taking a strong stance. I do believe we already are, whether it's declared in the motion or not. And yeah, I agree with Councillor Seeger that it will be sorting this, and I don't want this to linger on for years. Needs to get resolved, and one way or another, hopefully without getting a fortune for grants, but if we've got to spend some money, I think it will be more than truly worth it. The amount of use that it gets, and the increasing use that it will get, if it's not in the report that talks about population growth nearby. But the other factor which needs to be used is we are going to build a significant sports infrastructure complex there. And it's the most accessible, easiest way for all of the residents across the railway line to get there with a walk or cycle, and not have to go the long way around by Hyson Boulevard. So that's going to significantly increase its usage as well, once you get the photographs to it. So yeah, we need to keep pushing one way or another.
Thank you, Councillor Gossett. One of the things that did happen just in the first couple of weeks or months of me becoming mayor is we did have an issue with the crossing at Hyson Boulevard, the railway crossing, and we did manage to get 50% funding for that by agreement with the state government. And we have written to ask them about this. I can't see any great problem in asking DIP if they will provide the funding for it. I think that would be a fairly good thing to do. Well, simple thing. So there is a possibility of us asking DIP or whoever is responsible, because it's going to be quite costly to do it. Those things I've noticed in past check that before we launch into a motion to spend that money ourselves, that we exhaust any possibility of getting somebody else to pay for it. It's always the first preference. On Antoine, the CEO acting to speak to that.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I suppose I'll just take this opportunity to reiterate that staff have continued to advocate to DIT and to Steam Ranger and to the Office of National Regulation, I won't get their acronym right, for the continued, for Five Lane to continue to be open to pedestrians and cyclists and shared use path users, everybody other than traffic and vehicles. I met with the department, with staff late last week, and again, they made that very clear to DIT that it was of great importance to our community that Five Lane continues to be open for their campuses for that mobility and cyclability. It is obviously caught up in the issue of one crossing opening and another crossing closing, and that there's no new lane crossing right crossing on the Steam Ranger line. I'm not aware of that. We continue to advocate to DIT that this is a special circumstance. And in fact, we engaged with DIT about if we were to be able to get the approval for that at grade crossing for pedestrian cycling, and what sort of crossing might it be, and obviously looking at funding that with others. So I can say as of late of 4 days ago, business days have continued to be quite prevalent and robust discussion with the department.
And whether to what advice just received from acting CEO Hancock is that at the time when a very quick negotiations were done with the minister, that he did agree that he would pay for overs on the $5 million of the road crossing on Hyson Boulevard, and it could be a very convenient, short request to the minister that Five Lane, turning that into what we all want to see as a human scale crossing, could be included amongst that especially if it's unders at the moment, so we have many fires in the irons, but it's been a great discussion. Anybody else? Councillor Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak to item 13.2, letters of support for procedure. Further to councillors' lessons and comments, I am also pleased to see this procedure on the agenda and feel that it will provide a clear pathway to assist the community to seek letters of support for extremely funding opportunities. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Wall.
No, further.
All those in favour? Carry. On 14.1, maintenance and operations quarterly report, or has somebody moved that way? Westwood, Councillor Jones, and Councillor Westwood.
Thank you, Mayor. This quarterly report section, really quite readable, really quite informative, and I congratulate the staff for doing so.
The other councillor. Councillor Westwood, all those in favour? Carry. Then report. And members' reports from Councillor Salafi. Item 17, questions arising from the council meeting. We have two members of the gallery. Do you have any questions, either of you, arising from tonight's agenda that you wish to ask? Please come forward. I know you are. Please state the name of your town and then your question.
Okay, Saranda Lash,
Yep,
Carmel.
yep.
I didn't have a question as such. I just wanted to say thank you to the mayor, the council members and the staff for actually bringing the meeting to Carmel. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
You said what I was going to say.
We've got reverse worry. We are going to go into confidence in a moment. The members of the gallery and those joining online, we thank you for your attendance and interest. And yes, it has been a very good meeting, and especially the one before as well. So thank you for sticking through it to the end. We are about to go into confidence. Yep, so I need a motion to move us into confidence. Somebody, Councillor Hewitt, Councillor Segan, Councillor Hewitt, Councillor Segan, any other member? Councillor Hewitt, all those in favour? Carried. Now we'll be moving into confidence. Thank you for coming along. Well,